There are infinite ways to invest your money and grow your wealth for retirement. I mean, there's literally a million ways to make $1 million. However, most ways require you to understand finances, business, real estate, or be crafty, sneaky in some kind of way. This isn't for most people. Why work hard when you don't have to work hard? I think someone once said that, maybe it was Socrates or something. Who knows? On the internet, you can just attribute a quote to anyone. It's kind of cool. I'm just kidding. So there's a much more simple, almost foolproof way to retire with at least $1 million. Almost anyone can do it, seriously. So today we're going to be talking about the magical world of compound interest, specifically in the stock market, because it's just the easiest to apply compound interest with the stock market. But this seriously seems like magic. And we're going to talk about how this can guarantee almost anyone at least $1 million when you retire. You specifically. Now, I'm not going to be preaching to what specific stocks you should invest in or what my personal picks are. This is just simply going to show you how, with the power of compound interest in something like the S&P 500 index fund, you can guarantee yourself a very wealthy retirement on the beach somewhere, or in a mountain, or in a cave, wherever you want to retire. So let's talk about what compound interest is and why it's so powerful. So in order to set ourselves up here for a millionaire retirement, first we need to know what compound interest is and how it's going to get us there. How is this thing going to work? So simply put, compound interest is interest on top of your interest. So what that means is your money is gaining interest. It's producing a return. And then the return, the money that you earn, is also gaining interest. So it's building on top of itself, and it leads to this kind of snowball effect where you can picture a snowball rolling down a hill. First, it starts relatively small. It rolls a little bit, picks up some more snow, but then that extra snow is picking up even more snow. And then as it goes down the hill, it's just building larger and larger exponentially. That's the key focus here. It's building exponentially instead of linearly. So to better understand compound interest, let's first understand a more simple concept, and that is simple interest. Simple interest only provides the interest on the initial investment. It's not interest on interest. So let's say you put $1,000 into some account that can earn a simple interest rate of 10%. Now, I wouldn't mind finding that account, but let's just talk about this example. So after year one, you'd have $1,100. After year two, you'd have $1,200. After year three, $1,300, and so on. Every year gaining you $100 because that's 10% of your initial investment of $1,000. Simple. In contrast, if you invested $1,000 into some account with compounding interest at the rate of 10%, things would go a little bit differently. A little bit differently indeed. So after year one, you'd have that same $1,100. After year two, you'd have $1,210. After year three, you'd have $1,331. So with compounding interest, you can see after 3 years, you now have $31 more than with simple interest. Now, I know you're going to say, Max, $31 isn't even a big deal. I couldn't even buy half a toaster oven with that. But don't worry. You really start seeing the effects of compound interest over longer periods of time. Time is what really, really matters here, even more than the amount invested in some cases, but we're going to get into that in a minute here. Time, just remember, time is the most important factor. So take a look at this graph comparing simple interest to compound interest over 35 years. That $1,000 after 35 years with simple interest is worth $4,500. Okay, not bad. 4xing my money, I wouldn't mind that. 4.5xing my money actually wouldn't make me too mad. But the $1,000 compounding annually, meaning that you're making interest on your interest for all those years, turns that $1,000 into $28,000 in the same period of time. So it may only be half a toaster oven's difference after 3 years, but in the long run, we're talking the difference between a fully loaded Toyota Camry and a 2005 Mercury Grand Marquis, which happens to be the exact same car that I drive. And you know what? I don't need a fancy car, all right? Even my mom makes fun of this car. But it's the difference between that and my car. So now let's do a more practical example with a more down-to-earth interest rate in a retirement account, how you would actually receive this personally. This will highlight the importance of time in the equation and starting with some kind of safe investments sooner than later. So the first example scenario we're going to cover is Stephanie. Stephanie is a smart 20-year-old making regular investments of $400 per month with an 8% return in some kind of index fund until retirement age of 60. Now, I used 8% because that's about the historical average return for the S&P 500. This can vary on shorter time periods. For example, in the last 10 years, the S&P 500 actually returned 9.2%, but we're kind of in like this crazy bull run right now, but that's neither here nor there. We're just going to go with 8%. So we can see on this chart that over the course of Stephanie's life, she would have invested $192,400. But can you guess what that money would have grown to by retirement age? Just go ahead and pause this, write down the number in the comments, post it. Ready? $1,250,000. Now, to highlight how crazy this is, let's compare Stephanie to another fella. We're going to compare it to Jimothy, who started investing when he was 30 years old with the same $400 a month with the 8% return until retirement age of 60. Over the course of Jimothy's life, he put away only slightly less than the 20-year-old at $144,400. But at retirement, it only turned into $550,000. Less than half of what 20-year-old Stephanie made, $1.25 million. That's how important time is. Now let's quickly, just to highlight this further, let's do an example of 30-year-old Jimothy if he had invested a little bit more per month to see if he can catch up to Stephanie, to genius Stephanie who started at age 20. So let's say Jimothy invested $550 a month instead of $400 a month. This means that that 30-year-old would invest more through the lifespan to age 60 than the 20-year-old. However, the 30-year-old Jimothy would still only retire with $750,000. Still significantly less than the $1.25 million that 20-year-old Stephanie would retire with. So it's clear that starting as soon as possible is just as important, if not more important, than how much money you actually invest. So just remember that. And now you might be thinking, well, you know, I'm 35 years old, I'm 65 years old, I'm screwed. I didn't start, I'm screwed. And my answer here is, well, kind of. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. Not really. Yes, you don't have as much time to let your money work for you, but this doesn't remove the fact that today is a whole lot better time to start investing than tomorrow, regardless of your age. I mean, you don't want to be 95 years old wishing that you had started at 65. So, you know what? I'm just trying to say, start today. Today is better than tomorrow. So now we understand the importance of starting as soon as possible. We need to mention retirement accounts. If you plan on making long-term investments without pulling out your money, you absolutely want some kind of tax advantage account like a Roth IRA or a 401k. Now, there's a few differences between the two. However, the most important factor is the Roth IRA contributions are taxed before you invest. So your money is taxed, then you can invest in a Roth IRA, and then it can accumulate and you can pull it out tax-free. With a 401k, your contributions aren't taxed. It builds up, but then when you pull it out, they're taxed. So there's a few other differences. I'll put up this chart so you can compare the differences and pick whichever one is best for you. You might want to do a little bit more research into it just to see what works best for your individual scenario. Now, a Roth IRA can be opened through any reputable brokerage like Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, or even Webull, where you can open an account and grab 2 free stocks with a link in my description. Plus, they're going to send me a free stock as a thank you, so you'll be helping out this channel. But choose whoever you like the most. So in summary, let's do a brief recap here. Geez, I'm getting a little too excited. The secret to retiring a millionaire is not nearly as complex as people might think. There doesn't have to be a secret sauce. All you have to do is start investing right now with whatever you can afford and always stay consistent. Just remember this. If you don't remember anything else, remember this. It's the difference between a Toyota Camry and half a toaster oven. Just remember that one part. So next time you want to spend, I don't know, $10 on a 20-piece chicken nugget, just remember that you're actually spending up to $300 of your potential retirement. Seriously. So that's going to do it for today. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.